1. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, I rather be born an average person in the Roman Empire than in the sporadic Mesopotamian communes. This is because individual and collective actualization and quality of life have at their base the following prerequisites. A strong sense of leadership for social cohesion. We recognize that the empire is not perfect, but it's in their interest to get their shit together so that the person in power is able to stay in power and the people don't go absolutely French Revolution and cut your head off and wreck the entire rich people. B, capitalist and meritocratic incentive structures to be able to protect you and go to war. I am going to take the burden that our opening tried to dismiss when they tried to say wars won't happen, and we think that you have a chance to be able to survive and win that war as opposed to getting wrecked in the commune where you also have certain tribal conflicts. C, a strong sense of plurality of worldviews to be able to exercise one's agency and need to reach your full potential. The intuition pump here is a simple Maslow's hierarchy of needs on an individual and collective level, not just to be able to improve quality of life that our opening asserted, but we're going to tell you about how that becomes a process to be able to become the best version of yourself and how you have more choices and capacity within the empire. Opening government portrays communes in a very idealistic way, but tries to have their cake and eat it too. We largely believe that communes uniquely suffer from A, the cultural and ethnic similarities that bring them together also divide them. My POI earlier about how do you redistribute resources was quite important because that questioned the lens and the subjectivity of norms that they actually do to be able to give people shit. That is to say, on their side, it's probably between the people who share your same skin color, your same ethnicity, the one who's close to the tribal leader, the things that are outside your locus of control, that are largely governed by cults of personality, are likely to divide you as well, the same things that they say bring you together. We think that these informal tribal leaders also have certain levers of nepotism to promote the survival of the fittest, which means that there is a lower capacity to take care of the weak, the old, the marginalized, precisely because of a lack of resources, a trade-off that government was willing to take, which means that more people likely die. Let me be charitable. Our comparative is that on the empire, you simply have more money to be able to feed people and keep people alive longer. And as a consequence, whether you're a farmer or a peasant or a soldier, there's an incentive structure of the state to be able to train and upskill you and also provide some sort of mechanism like what we saw in feudalism and what we saw with them rewarding generals who come back with the spoils of war to be able to protect not just their interest but also the interest of the state. We agree with opening opposition and their laundry list of benefits which were largely asserted but lacked weighing, impacting, and middle analysis. To one extent, we also need to be charitable to opening government because OO kind of tried to dismiss them. And we on CO are going to take a high burden to defend the worst forms of the empire vis-a-vis or versus the worst forms of the commune. You have two principled pushes coming from our side. We're willing to defend communism, ladies and gentlemen, which actually has an incentive structure to equally redistribute wealth. And that uniquely responds to what we get from closing government, who's trying to also ask about like what happens to the resources. And secondly, this idea and push for colonialism to really be able to protect the social and individual agenda. But before I move on, I'll take the POI for whoever raised it earlier and the other person who's unmuted, you can mute too. Go ahead. Yeah. POI, 3, 2, 1. Okay, proceeding. I am going to take the burden and defend what our opening didn't defend, which is to say, on both sides, war is a necessary trade-off, and on our side, we're probably gonna be more positioned not just to not get in one because they tried to get away with that mutually assured destruction thing, but I'm going to say we're going to be at a position to be able to win more wars and as a consequence be able to stay alive. Why? Because we have to understand that this debate is uniquely also about safety and security, and the function of that is how society is organized. We think it's not just about having utility for utility's sake or innovation for innovation's sake, but also about the following impacts. A, public health and safety. That is to say, under the empire, you have access to more doctors, more research, and more medicine that actually prevents you from dying from some random shitty plague or random shitty infection, which is likely to happen in the commune. B, a better quality of life. Opening said this in a one-liner, but that doesn't mean you can fully credit. I'm running a vertical analysis to say that this better quality of life comes as a function of that organization that uniquely puts you together. You work for that empire person, that empress, that emperor, and as a consequence, they protect you. Your life is very simple. Do your job, earn money, have a family, have a bit to be able to buy something in a shop or join a particular guild to do those cool things that they said in those particular societies. And C, this is a horizontal analysis, by the way. The birth and creation of social contract as an incentive structure and the enablement of things like institutions, like schools, like the academe, and guilds that actually allow things which were previously fragmented in the commune to now come together under the banner of the empire with a single person being able to control it. Sure, we recognize that that single person may be the point of failure, like what we've seen in particular empires, but we also uniquely have to understand how that in and of itself becomes an incentive structure for them not to be too much of an asshole. Because the point in which they get their head chopped off, or the point in which they are, is the point in which people go on an absolute rebellion, wrecking society. What do you get coming from closing opposition? You get an explanation and trade-off of what we're willing to defend in the spirit of communism to be able to get people to where they are, and in the spirit of colonialism to defend even the worst cases, wars are necessary, but you have a chance to win it and a chance to be safe. We are very proud to oppose.